Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the INL inaugural season, Season 1. This is round number 9 around Austria. We're currently on board with Cloudy as he begins with his hot lap, the only person yet to set a time. Apologies for being late. I was not aware that this race was actually happening today until a couple of minutes ago. That doesn't matter, we're here now. We've got enough time to see everyone's final runs and Cloudy's first run. Let's see how this goes. I'm gonna open up the telemetry for you guys so you can see throttle and brake inputs as well. Let's see how this goes. In terms of tires, we've got everyone out on the soft set of tires. I believe Callum has not set that time on mediums. He's just got a set of mediums on at the moment, as it shows that 0 laps have been completed on them. And hello there, TDB Brainless Broom. This is actually a league race, so if you would like to get involved with this league, that gentleman in chat, TDB, get in contact with him or Macru, and you can potentially join in their league. It's a league run by a couple of friends that met on stream together, in this stream actually, and in a gentleman named Tom and another gentleman named Ricky. They all decided, hey, let's make this official. Let's take each other on over the course of a single season, doing 50% races, short qualies. And we've actually missed Cloudy's lap as he came across the line into a 106.0, which puts him in P12. I see Macru and Super Gamer, which is Macru and TDB, in chat. They have retired. I don't know if this was due to perhaps a quali ban or if they crashed out, but we'll see. Or perhaps they can give us some insight there. Other than that, we see Toothy Danny currently on his hot lap, on his second hot lap on a fresh set of softs. Let's see if he can improve. The rest of the boys should be heading out now for that final lap of theirs. About 4 minutes remaining, 4 minutes 40 seconds remaining in this quali session. We do not know yet what the weather will be. Let's hope for an interesting race. Macru, I can do so, but I do not know who Ivory Brian Mike is, and I do not have him on my friends list, so if you could check with him if he can send me an invite, we could do that. Alright, and Toothy Danny comes across with a 105.5. Very decent time. These 104.3, 104.4s, those are some immense times. Great jobs by Skeven and it's Matty G. Skeven currently sitting in provisional pole. Matty G on second, D. Daniel in third, and Tom coming in with a very respectable 104.9, as well as Callum also in the 104.9. So the top 5 in the 104s, and J. Luke has decided that that is enough for him. He's ended on a 105.1. Classy, definitely going to be looking to improve. But let me get my co-commentator in quickly. As requested by league owners themselves. Alright, and let's party up. Sorry for the little bit of disorganization here. I believe that must have been a gap in communication. And now I need to set another mic as well, so that Mr. Brian Mike can actually hear me. Hey, just 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I will be right back. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It looks like Skeven has improved. And I am joined by Mr. Ivory Brian Mike himself. How are you doing, sir? Can you hear me, Mr. Ivory Brian Mike? Does not seem like it. How about now?
How are you doing, bud?
I'm very well, and yourself?
Loving life. Oh, Wales are already 6 points ahead of Italy.
Great stuff, great stuff. So, Mr. Mike, are you part of this league? Can you tell us, maybe give us a little bit more insight as to how the standings looking? As we just talked now, Maddie G has displaced Skeven off pole position with a 104.233, and Skeven has retired. He's decided that's enough. I do not have the fuel left to fight Maddie G.
Well, I'll just get these standings up a second.
Certainly.
There has been a bit of a shift, though, in the constructor teams, with making it a bit more even across the entire constructors. So that'll be an interesting one to keep an eye on.
All right.
As the season goes on.
Great stuff. And Daniel comes across with his time displacing Skeven as well with a very, very respectable 104.2. Only 300ths of a second off Maddie G in pole. 5 thousandths of a second ahead of Skeven. Very, very tight at the front there. Callum also on a hot lap. Can he displace, or will Tom pull one out the bag here? He's also on a hot lap with a complete new set of softs. Between Callum and Tom, what do we... Callum has backed off, so it's up to Tom. Let's see as he comes across the line what happens. Well, that might have been an invalidated lap, but let's see what happens as he come across. He stays exactly where he is. I think that must have been an invalidation there.
To the line now. Doesn't improve.
Right, and there we have it. Your final standings for qualification today. It's going to be Matty G on pole, Mr. D. Daniel starting on the first row alongside him for team for Sauber, actually. Skeven next to, or right behind them, Callum, and Tom and J. Luke lining up behind those two. Wackersk and Tooth behind them. And that's all I saw. All right.
Well, looking at the standings right now, we got McCrew currently leading the way on 118 points. Super Gamer second on 79 points, with J Ghost right behind him on 78. I'm not sure if J Ghost is here today. No,
it does not look like he is. So that opens up the door for the rest of the people to catch up. Who have we got below J Ghost?
Yep, it gives Matty a chance to maybe get ahead of J Ghost, and with Super Gamer all the way down at the back of the grid, gives him a chance really to also try and jump ahead of him.
Great stuff. So I think that at the moment, it seems like Maddie is up for a potential great race in terms of overall championship. We'll have to wait and see, but we've just loaded in and it looks like it is clear skies today in Austria. I do not know if there's going to be any rain. It doesn't look like it if I look at how bright it is, but this could potentially mean some overheating issues and perhaps people looking at a two-stop race instead of those one-stops.
This is one of those tracks where it's kind of like a 50-50 call for the two-stop, one-stop strategy.
All right, they've lined up on the grid. Looks like this is their warm-up lap or their out lap as we cycle through. Daniel in the Sauber, Skeven in the Ferrari, in the Mercedes following behind. Callum not caring about the weaving. It looks like he is just ready to get this race going. And behind them, Tom for Team Sauber as well. The Sauber is looking to potentially grab up a whole heap of points in the constructors battle today. And
Yeah,
then
but now
comes,
really help them out because they're all the way down in 8th at the moment.
yeah, that would be Toothy Danny and J Luke alongside Tom and D Daniel are the only two constructors both in the top 10. I think it looks like Renault has had a bit of a shocker of a qualifying with Ajor in P10 and Supergamer down in P15. Supergamer and McCrew actually did not set any laps. I'm not sure if they did crash out or anything, but they're definitely going to be looking to make up some grounds today.
Oh, Crafty's left the session.
Oh my goodness.
Hopefully he can get back in. I noticed this happened last week a few times with Crafty. His connection keeps cutting out on him.
This spawns trouble for Team Mercedes as we line up on the grid here. Supergamer, the last car to make his way into his position. Aura Crafty is back. Let's hope that he can regain control of his car.
Well, interesting thing is that McCrew and Supergamer are the only ones outside the top 10 on the medium tyres.
That reminds me. They are on the alternative strategy. Everyone else seeming to have gone for the soft tires, and we are off. Great move by Daniel on the inside, but Matty G hangs on the outside, going down lower into the field. It's very close for P7 at the moment. Ajor dives down the inside. Will he be able to rotate his car in time? He does.
Mercedes just ghosting through people.
Looks like Mr. Aura Crafty. Yeah, Mr. Crafty is bouncing around all over the screen. See a great move there. Great dive bomb by Supergamer down the inside of Dale. And he's made his way up to P13 as it stands. And Aura Crafty mounting the car of McCrew behind. Luckily, it does not seem like there's any damage. But this whole grid very, very tight. I'm going to jump on board with the leaders who's 2/10 now away from each other. Let's open the telemetry. Yep, Daniel, full overtake mode. He is definitely trying to go for it here with Matty G, or both of them are perhaps trying to break away from Callum.
On the inside of Joe, unable to get the move done, but that's going to open things up for the slipstream.
See Wakursk, and a little bit of a lag spike there. Wakursk going to try around the outside or cut back, but Ajor does block the apex very beautifully. And McCrew slides through all the way from the back, I must say. McCrew having a great start to this race on his medium tires. Supergamer and Aura now side by side. A whole tussle of cars over there. The McLaren from Dale still right with them. As we see Aura Crafty ghosting around as well.
Oh, it's Dale just dives it on the inside of Supergamer.
Great dive bomb there. Oh no!
Dale and Supergamer.
Supergamer on his medium tires. Yikes. That does put a whole spanner in the works for his strategy. Let's see what he comes up with alternatively. Close.
Dale just understeering into the wall.
And I see Skeven over here gaining ever so slightly on Callum, only 2/10 behind now. This lead pack seeming to break away a little bit from J-Luke, but that's because Tom and J-Luke is battling a little bit for that P5 position.
McCrew going wide at the top of the hill of... Technically it's turn 3, but I always call it turn 2. At the top of the hill, end of sector 1. Runs out wide. Joe manages to get past him. We're cursed having a little bit of a sniff around as well.
I see Wakursk now about a half a second behind McCrew. And McCrew seeming to regain his confidence there. That gap coming down to a jaw again. A very tight line from him there. How is his exit going to be? A jaw does run wide. Opens up the door for McCrew. They're side by side. Will they still be side by side, or will he get the move done before turn 1? He does.
Skeevan's going for a move on Callum. P3 going down
Great
the
dive
inside.
bomb there, and Callum runs
Callum
wide,
just goes well off.
promoting Skeevan up into that last podium position. But Callum is still right there with him. All this battling allowing Tom actually to regain, but Tom and J. Luke is still battling fiercely, if I might add. Now the second lap in a row they've gone side by side with each other.
Yeah, the best thing for J. Luke and Tom to do now is kind of work together, use the DRS to kind of pull themselves closer to that front pack.
And Tom goes for a dive in a very tricky corner. Gets the job done. J. Luke's still there though, gets a good exit with the DRS. What can he do? His wheels on the grass though, that's going to hurt his straight line speed. And as I say that, Tom's starting to pull away a little bit there. Now what can J. Luke do?
Teammates right behind them as well now. So this could be a bit of teamwork here from the Williams lads.
Let's see if there's any team orders. Out of J. Luke and Tooth, who is in a position of note in the championship, would you say?
Baron?
Between Tooth and J. Luke for Team Williams, who would you say is in a better position championship-wise for these two to work together?
It would be J. Luke to my eye. He's currently sitting on 60 points. He is only 6 points behind Matty in the championship, so I think he would get priority in terms of Williams. But
if
Toofy Danny got the pace now, he might want to just press on.
Yeah, let Toothy go and drag himself along to get past Tom there. So everyone's completed around 5 laps. The only two that has pitted was Super Gamer and Dale after a bit of a collision on, I believe it was lap 2 or 3.
Callum looking around the outside of Daniel for the final spot on the podium. Mercedes and the Alpha.
And Daniel hanging in there. This is great racing. And Daniel managed to keep his nose ahead. Will Callum fight back? Welcome Mr. Azad, welcome Manolito, welcome Manadia TV, welcome Nick V7, welcome Phoenix Phantom to the race today. And to answer your question, Mr. Azad, I am not racing this evening. Chat, who do you boys support tonight? Who do you think is going to take the victory? Will there be a surprise? Safety car can mess everything up. But let's jump on board back with Callum, who goes to the outside after Daniel defends the inside quite vigorously. He tries for a cutback. He gets a good exit with the DRS. Surely that must be move done. Will Daniel try for a dive? Nope. Daniel goes sensible. Just tucks in behind. Even with all this battling, Tom and J. Luke are still falling behind because these two just will not let up the battle that they've got going on. And it looks like Tooth is still right on the back of them. Tooth just hanging tight. The gap down below to McCrew is 2 seconds, but visually you can see it just coming down 10th after 10th after 10th. So pretty soon this could be a 4-horse race for P5.
Well, we might have a move for the race lead by here as Skivan is all over the back of Matty G.
He's had an excellent run out of turn 1. And he clears him before turn 2. Covers the inside line. Looks like move done. Matty G
Yeah,
does
there's
not.
Callum and Daniel are side by side, and Tom and Jay Luke are side by side. His battles all over the place.
Let's jump on board with
Oh,
Tom, J.
contact
Luke,
between
and Tooth.
Callum and Jay Luke.
Since this is a three-way battle, I'm joining in with this one. And Callum. Was it bad contact? Did you see what happened there?
It looked like
Was it Daniel,
Daniel was
perhaps?
just understeering a bit wide and just got caught on the front wing of Callum. I personally see that more as a racing stunt.
And Tooth dives into the pit, covering off the undercut, or perhaps trying the undercut on Tom. I wasn't sure on who exactly was ahead, but surely he'll be able to gain some time there on Tom and J. Luke, who's still fiercely battling. Tom goes for a dive. Is that too late on the brakes? Nope, that's actually good, and he leaves space on the outside. J. Luke takes full advantage of the better traction on the outside line. But Tom's still there. Tom's still gaining up into overtake mode.
Down the inside.
Big lockup.
And Jay Luke with the lovely little switchback, the cut back underneath him.
Very nicely done by J. Luke and Tom. Very respectful driving between both of them. Gap up ahead now, 2 seconds to Daniel, but Daniel is losing time after that contact with him and Callum. Azad says he's going for Daniel. And Marky Mark saying he's supporting ITOM for a DNF today.
And McCrew looking like he's going to get past Tom here into turn 1.
And we've got to
give Tom a chance to come back.
We've got to realize McCrew has started right from the back. He is on the little bit harder compound of tires with his mediums that he's got on currently. So he will be able to go a little bit deeper into the race than Tom. Tom's tires, I'm not sure which condition they're in. But McCrew definitely looking
right now,
a little bit more comfortable.
Right now I say McCrew's got the advantage on tires right now.
100%. He does look way more stable on the road. Although Tom has been battling fiercely with Tooth and with J. Luke. J. Luke has dived into the pit since. Now the question is, where will he come out once ITOM does decide to pit? And Matty and Skeven still half a second of each other in between them. Matty will open up his DRS.
Picking up a 3-second penalty. That's not going to help him towards the end of the race.
Not at all. I think for McCrew this is a little bit of a damage mitigation race. I think started from the back. Super Gamer as well. Super Gamer opted for the hard tires. He seems to be still going well, but I don't think he's as fast as he would have liked to be at this point in time. But he's definitely going to try and push those all the way to the end.
As Callum gets past J. Luke in the turn 1 and followed straight away by his teammate. Able to clear a bit of traffic. A little bit of contact there between Luke and Callum, and the front wing damage for J. Luke.
I was just trying to spot that damage. He's broken his front right end plate, it seems. Not ideal for a clockwise track where all your downforce is needed on the right hand side. So this has gone from great to not so ideal for Team Williams. Both of them have made the pit stop already. Everyone from P10 upwards yet to make a stop, and as we say that, Matty G, the leader, dives into the pit for his set of medium, promoting Skeven into P1. Closest battle we've got on track currently is with Stewie and Wackersk, both of them on 11 lap old soft tires. Can Stewie get a good exit here? He will have his DRS. He's got a whole ton of ERS left to use. He's not into overtake mode even. He's only running on medium and still gets close enough to try that dive bomb into turn 2. Classy does hang it around the outside though.
Right now, I gotta say, I'm impressed with how Steven, Callum, and Wakirst are keeping their ERS at the moment. 'Cause they seem to be doing a much better job than what the rest of the field are doing with their ERS management.
100%. I was just witnessing that now when I jumped on board with Stewie, still sitting on 70% left. Classy around the same area, or Wakirsk. Ajor.
Even on 95 right now, as he's leaving the pits.
That is excellent for someone that needs ERS now to try and hang on to that lead. But now Matty G has jumped him, it seems like. Ooh, they're coming out side by side.
Side by side.
So that...
But here's the thing, Matty G with 5% DRS, he's going to be struggling now on the second DRS straight.
100%. So that 1 lap earlier pit stop for Matty not paying off as he would have liked. And Skeven opens it up into overtake mode. It's going to be an easy move over here. This might be because Matty was leading the pack. So Skeven and them did not really need to use as much ERS, being dragged along by Matty.
Callum down the inside of Wakirsk for 6th place. A little move there from the Mercedes driver.
And Stewie actually
I'll be
right
interested
behind
to see
them.
where Callum comes out relative to... Oh, Daniel's around. He lost it on the penultimate corner on his way into the pits.
Oh my goodness, at least it was on his pit lap, so as if any damage pulled up.
Oh no,
And
Daniel.
a 5-second stop go. It's Matty G is driving through. Is this Itom? Yeah, a little bit of a lag situation happening there, but Tom, Matty G, and Skeven very closely together now, battling for P2. Tom is the only one of 2 people, 3 people actually, still out on their initial set of softs. One being Cloudy, one being Tom, and one being Wakirsk, yet to make a pit stop.
Well,
now that lack of...
It's going to be interesting coming towards the latter stages, because you've got Callum, who is like 15 seconds behind McCrew. McCrew's already got his mediums out of the way, so he can just go onto whatever tyre he wants. So it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen there, because Callum will have to make a second pit stop, and McCrew could opt for the 1 stop.
Do you think that he would be able to make those medium lasts all the way to the end? Oh, McCrew actually started on the mediums. You are right.
Yeah,
you are
McCrew,
right.
He could very much opt for the 1 stop pit onto the hards and go to the end. Whereas
100%.
Callum will have to make that second pit stop.
100%.
And as we saw from Jay Lugan sometimes coming through the field, means that you risk getting a little bit of front wing damage here and there.
This is correct. Our closest battle at the moment was with Aura, but Aura has lost it going into turn 4, I believe. And Super Gamer makes his way through. Second closest battle we've got is J-Luke versus Stewie. Battle for P7. J-Luke now 3/10 behind, leading up to the straight, opening up his DRS into high mode only, and he goes for a dive around the outside. Runs a little bit wide, but it seems like Cody's has allowed it.
I mean, Cody's may have allowed it, but I kind of feel like he has to drop that position back. He was off circuit then.
I feel the same. It's a little bit of an abuse of track limits, but we'll have to leave that one for the stewards. And Tom right at the back of Stewie now, Getting a great exit there. Stewie seems a little bit slow. Is he? Oh no, he's still on his
Yeah, he's on
very old
15
set.
lap old.
You can visually see him limping as Tom makes his way through now in pursuit of J. Luke up ahead. And Matty G, one of our race win contenders, picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's not going to do him any good.
And Skeever now all
Skeevan.
over the back of McCrew.
Great heli shot we've got here as Skeevan chases down McCrew. DRS wide open. And now they give us a shitty shot. But that's move done.
Skeevan's made the move.
You've got a new race leader, ladies and gentlemen. Skeevan for Team Ferrari. McCrew right behind. And Matty G now within a second of both of them as well. It's a 3-horse race.
This is crucial for McCrew as well, because he is going to be a full pit stop behind both Skeevan and Matty G.
And may I ask, do you also see the rain coming? This is not something I expected at all.
I did just notice a little drop coming down then. Okay, now everyone's staying out. Makes a bit of sense.
This nullifies completely the fact that McCrew is a pit stop behind, because potentially everyone will have to go to either inters or wets, depending on how hard this rain comes down. So, in my opinion, a bit of a masterclass there from McCrew. I don't know if he maybe read the situation a little bit better, but opting for the harder tires to start the race on could potentially pay dividends for him. But the track will now start to become very slippery. I see Whackers.
I'm keeping an eye on the gap between Wackerst and the Super Gamer right now.
Wackerst and Stewie and Dale have all opted for inters already. I do not know if it's inter time yet. The people on the slicks do seem a little bit slower, but they are still in control of their back ends.
Matty G gets past McCrew, but McCrew's strategy has worked out perfectly there.
Being in P3, only 4 tenths behind P2.
Oh, he almost goes into the back of Matty G, does McCrew.
That is so close. Just running past Cloudy here on a new set of softs. Rushdi is still ahead of Dale though. And Tom makes it past.
J. Luke.
Will J. Luke fight back? And the exact same thing with McCrew almost happened to J. Luke now.
Matty's off.
Oh no.
I'm not sure whether contact was made between him and McCrew, but Matty into the grass, doing a bit of lawnmower, and he was.
Not ideal for someone who could potentially make up a lot of points in the championship today. Especially to Mr. J Ghost, who is unable to attend, unfortunately. J Luke's still hanging in there with Mr. Itom. Itom is on the fresher set of mediums. But all of that could be null and void soon, depending on how quickly the water starts filling up on track.
I mean, I feel for Wackerst and ST5 right now, because they made the judgment call and they pitted way too early for the end as J. Luke almost goes into the back of Tom. I think people are going to have to relearn their braking zone for turn 3.
100%. Looking at Whackers, we got a little bit of a tire glitch here on stream, but he is definitely on the intermediate tires. But you can visually see how much slower these guys are. These wet tires
Yeah, he's
do
lost.
heat up extremely fast if the track is still dry.
Yeah, unfortunately for Kersey, it's just losing time to Super Gamer. Super Gamer's hards are 17 laps old. So that gives some idea of how much time he is losing to the guys that he was battling with.
Stewie makes it past Aura Crafty at the moment.
And
Not
Tom
certain what
deep into
happened
the
there,
pits.
but I want to stay on board with Tooth Danny as Callum has had a bit of a tank slapper out of turn 1, and that has allowed Tooth Danny to make his way through. But now this braking zone that's been catching everyone out has once again caught out Callum, and he runs a little bit deep, just securing that position for Toothy Danny. Very well done by Toothy Danny, anticipating that and setting himself up for that cutback. Mr. Stewie, and
DRS has been disabled. It is Inda's time now.
100%. As you said that now, I've noticed that Stewie and Aura Crafty is actually still battling. Aura still has that little bit of a lag issue. Let's hope that Stewie's wing will be safe. He still seems to have both end plates there. And the first one to pull the trigger up from the front runners is Mr. Skeven. McCrew and Matty G either missed their pit stop or decided to stay out one additional lap. This is definitely going to pay dividends for Skeven, as we know that DRS has been disabled and the track is now suitable for wet conditions. How much time will Matty and McCrew lose on this lap of theirs? As I say that, McCrew goes super deep.
6 times in one corner.
They have had a little bit of a brain fart, in my opinion, there. Skeven, bit of a masterclass.
Skeven's already on the back of Matty. That's a bad judgment call there from Matty and McCrew to stay out one more lap.
Now, does this open the door for Callum, or is Callum just that little bit too far behind? The longer these two leaders stay out, the better chance Callum has as well of jumping both of them, and Matty's staying out. That is very odd. Perhaps weather might clear up again and Matty has just thought that, sticking out these couple of laps on the dries is in my better interest. But there goes Skeven for the race lead.
Change his tires.
Oh my goodness. And Matty has just hit the wall as well, losing an end plate. Very slow at the moment. And this definitely lets Callum, or provides Callum with a great opportunity to move himself further up in the field. McCrew unfortunately going on to the soft tires, which, although faster in theory, on a dry track, on a wet track, not so much. One person that's silently been creeping up on everyone that we haven't really noticed is Mr. Toothy. He's currently in P5, 3/10 behind P4, and he hasn't really made much moves, which might lead me to believe, has he gone instead for a more wet setup and is now starting to see the benefits of that?
Yeah, he seems to be a lot more comfortable right now in the wet conditions compared to what he was in the dry. He seems to have a bit more pace about it, but Skeven into the pits, so what's going on by here? He's putting on dries. Okay, the weather is really playing a havoc right now with everyone.
This is extremely odd. Now,
McCrew's back in as well.
Maddie's move makes a little bit of sense, but Maddie comes in and pits for Inters. I do not know. Perhaps could it be that
Skeven has come in and has gone on the dries? He was on the Inters. He had a monstrous lead if he stayed out.
And we had just spoken about Toothy Danny. Look where he finds himself now. Half a second behind the race leader in Callum now. Is it too far-fetched to believe that perhaps the move from a crew and who else was it? Matty G saying out on dries was to try and confuse Skeven, making him come in for
I
dries? I don't think so, but it would be very interesting to speak to these two at the end of the race. Because obviously we don't hear what Jeff says, how long it's going to be for the rain to clear up. But with
well,
Matty,
I don't understand why Skeven went back into the pits. It's still
me
raining.
neither. It's still very wet. Look at all the spray these front runners are generating. And also, Itom has dropped off since the start of the race a little bit, but through all of that carnage, not carnage, like mind games, we see Tom now in P3 again with a Jor who was quite frankly not really anywhere in this race now in
And
P5.
Skeven's in the pits again. Skeven, I think, has just thrown away a race win with it. Big time.
I think you might be right. But as I say that, Toothy Danny now 2/10. Will he go for a dive?
Retired.
Oh no.
He retired in the pits.
Okay. He's decided that he has had enough.
Sure, I love having a little track map up now. I can actually see if people retire in the pits or not.
This battle for the lead still going on. Toothy 3/10 behind. I'm gonna keep an eye on the gap from Itom to Toothy. On lap 25, we're sitting at a 4.5 second gap. Let's see if the leaders is on pace or if the rest behind is catching. In this half a lap that we've been on board with him, Tom has closed that gap down by half a second, so might be he was just in a faster sector, but could potentially spell trouble for Toothy Danny and Callum, which is perhaps why Toothy is not really going for any moves, trying to prevent some battles going on, trying to prevent the people behind catching them as they lap a few cars again.
Well, I mentioned it earlier about Callum being good on his ERS, and looking at his percentage right now compared to Toofy and Tom, and the Joe for that matter, all the way down to my crew, is he's got a healthy ERS advantage.
Very healthy. Sitting on 90% with the closest next to him is McCrew on a 60%, but McCrew is quite a way down the field. And that gap actually from Callum now has extended to just about a second. So Toothy starting to fall off a slight, but that gap we were just looking at with Tom to the leaders is now up to 5 seconds. So on average it seems like Tom is losing 5/10 a lap, but not 100%.
He's got some traffic to deal with, but these guys are racing for position. He needs to be careful by here.
This is not ideal for him as he tries to chase down Ajor. Ajor maybe getting a little bit of a better piece of track for them.
Audi just let him go, but
Yes, sir. But Aura, right on the back of Cloudy. And am I reading this right? Aura is on dry tires.
yes, I noticed that as well.
But as I say that, he runs off track. So not quite dry tire weather yet. The rain is still coming down. Gap at the front.
I mean, it seems to be heavier in Sector 2 than anywhere else.
Especially that as it turn 3, where everyone has been running wide whole night. And McCrew picks up a second 3-second time penalty. Yellow flag in Sector 2. That's someone that's come off. I don't want to leave this battle, but it looks... Oh no, Dale.
He's on the soft tires, he's made a gamble. It's not paid off for him.
Well, he's at the back, so this is the time for gambles. 49 seconds down to P13. He might as well have tried. Gap to Tom and the leaders now 6.5 seconds, so 2 laps later, 1.5 seconds down. I think I'm comfortable in saying that Callum and Toothy is our 2 contenders for the race win here today, unless weather plays another part. Some Dogger in chat has mentioned that Skeven broke his wings and his tires were not set. That is where Skeven's trouble came in. Thank you for clearing that up for us, Mr. Simdagger.
Did that stop raining? It stopped raining in Sector 3.
It seems like it. I'm just having a look now, and the track, although it's clearly still damp, it doesn't have any wet patches. Yeah, it has no wet patches whatsoever anymore, and Matty G dives into the pit. Is this yet another gamble to try and save this race? He goes on to softs. This might work out perfectly, but that Sector 2 is still extremely wet. Let's see how this goes. J. Luke now 1.7, 1.8 seconds behind Ajor. McCrew still catching. Remember, McCrew and Super Gamer did start right at the back. They are about 6 seconds apart from each other, but both have made significant gains in this race.
I think it might be time for the softs.
I think it might.
DRS is enabled. Yeah, here we go.
DRS enabled, and Maddie has actually timed that to perfection then. Right as he comes to the very wet part of Sector 2.
J. Luke might have to just take the double stack, but yeah, he's going for it.
So Toothy comes in.
Oh no.
And I've just...
Toothy stayed out, and I saw him up in first. I thought he might have stayed out.
I've just got to take a moment here to thank Mr. Lights Off for subscribing. Thank you so much, you majestic bastard. Hopefully this race brings you as much joy as it does to me at the moment.
As Super Gamer finds himself up where he wants to be, but knowing that he's going to make a pit stop, he's not going to stay there.
At this point, Tom is 5 seconds behind, 5.8. But he is gaining rapidly. I believe he might have made a mistake there, Mr. Super Gamer, as well as Mr. D. Daniel, as Toothy makes his way past now.
Got J. Luke diving it down the inside of McCrew for 7th place. Switch back there from McCrew to get back ahead. Yellow flags in Sector 2. I think that's for Cloudy Cloud. Yes, it is.
And McCrew and J. Luke still heavily battling. Thank you, Mr. Vince, for the follow. I do appreciate it, good sir. Let's see this battle between McCrew and J. Luke. Oh, J. Luke runs a little bit wide on the grass, which opens up the gap for McCrew as he struggled to get the power down. That's J. Luke now. But now J. Luke will have the DRS. Can he get a good exit? He is in none mode, so saving up a bit of ERS. McCrew on 40%.
Yeah,
him on 30%. Maybe just biding his time to come back at him the next race.
As we got a Joe on the back of Tom, the final spot on the podium.
With 5 laps remaining and most of the front of the field very, very closely knit together. I think we're in for a cracker of a finish.
Joe has kind of gone under the radar for us as well, hasn't he?
Yes, that is correct. With this weather definitely playing a big part in his race, he finds himself about to be on the podium if he can just make it past Mr. Itom there.
McCrew breaking that DRS window to J. Luke, but look at how much ERS he had to use for it. as he sets the fastest lap.
A 107.2, our current fastest lap.
And here goes
A
Joe
Jor on
now
Tom.
around the outside.
And it looks like he's cleared the
Tom
position. But
braking
Tom
later,
actually very late on the brakes. Ajor will have the better traction on the outside line. They're still side by side, but I think Ajor might just be slightly ahead. But Tom very, very late on the brakes. And managed to keep his car in. And as these two keep on battling, notice that McCrew from the back is now only half a second behind them. So
McCrew is just licking his chops right now.
We have potentially got ourselves a three-way battle for the final podium spot for this evening.
It could be a four-way because Luke is not too far behind. These guys' battle is only 1.4 seconds.
That is true, and we know that Matty G has got some serious pace as well. How hard will these guys battle, and will that allow Matty G as well to join the party? But McCrew moves past Ajor into B5. He says, get out the way, let me have a go at Tom as he dives on the inside. Tom gets a good cutback here, but McCrew being on the outside will have the better traction. Now Tom with the DRS goes at McCrew again, brakes very, very deep indeed, but leaves sufficient space on the outside. McCrew has gone for the switchback, but it didn't quite work out as planned.
Nah, he mounted the inside curb.
Now, how patient can Ajor be behind?
And here we go. As I said, Luke now all the way on the back of him in that DRS train.
With 2 laps to go, the penultimate lap starting now. Oh, actually not yet. One more lap. Who is your money on for that final podium position? Chat and my co-commentator here today.
Honestly, I might have to go with the Renault over Joe, because I don't think I've seen his name come up with a penalty yet.
That is correct. We have not taken penalties into account. McCrew is currently in that final podium spot, but he's had to use most of his ERS for that position though. Tom's still on 30%, Ajor on 16%. I'm gonna actually go out on a limb here, mainly because I mostly race in the Williams. I'm gonna say J Luke's gonna have a smasher, and he's gonna make up some places. I don't know if it can be for the podium yet, but if he uses his...
I mean, J Luke is another one that we don't really... I haven't really seen his name come up for penalties either, so... It's a thing, it's a Joe or J Luke, I reckon.
That's what I think as well. But even with McCrew having next to no ERS left,
here we go,
he's still...
He's trying it on the inside.
Great move there. But Ajor is on the outside line. Not enough, not quite enough. J Luke makes his way past. Tom and McCrew now 3/10 apart. Tom is sitting on a fairly healthy amount of ERS. We also need to pay attention there for that P8 Super Gamer right on the back of Daniel. He seems to want to go for that move, but couldn't quite get the power down.
Skeevan's right behind him as well. We know the pace of Skeevan's got in the dry.
That is correct. Mr. Super Gamer, can he have a smasher of a Sector 3? Good exit. DRS open. Can he get to D Daniel in time for turn 1? I think he might. He goes for the dive. Good space left by both. And that promotes.
Pop up then Super Gamer got 3 second time penalty for cutting the corner there.
If I was super... Oh my goodness, and D. Daniel spins out Mr. Super Gamer. And Skeven takes full advantage and says, this position is mine, boys. Mr. Tom now.
Well,
3/10 behind.
Skeven's gone off.
Skeven
Skeven's
has
retired.
DNF'd. Let's see if
But
we
Callum
can...
coming around the final corner to the line now. He is going to pick up the win here on track, but we'll see with penalties. As
And
Tufi Dani gets the win.
to the Danny. Mr. Silent Killer himself. And with
Tom,
McCrew's penalties, that promotes Tom into P3.
And Joe gets fourth.
Joe 4th, McCrew 5th, J. Luke in 6th, Matty G in 7th, D. Daniel in 8th, TDB coming in 9th. He's not going to be happy with that spin out from Daniel. Skeven did crash out. He could have had both of them, but Stewie will be crossing the line soon for that final points paying position.
I mean, I think Skeven had a few penalties to his name which would have dropped him behind Daniel and Super Gamer, but still, it's better to take 1 point than no points. You never know when that 1 point might actually count.
But what an interesting race we had. We started in a very, very dry, very sunny Austria here, which became wet very, very quickly. Some stayed out on dries, and then all of a sudden we see the rain clear up once again. It's not many times that we get tricky conditions like that.
Yeah, it was one of those situations where you can kind of understand a bit of the logic of people staying out on the dry tires, but it just got so wet so quick, and then it got so dry so quick. It was just, you gotta be on the right tires to make any ground there.
That is correct. And I see Callum has just popped into chat saying he's got a 10-second for trying to get back on the track. He's gonna challenge it.
Yeah, I did see come up earlier.
So we will have to see. Currently, unofficial results. We've got Toothy Danny in position number 1. Position 2, Callum gonna contest it. Mr. Itom in 3rd, Ajor 4th, McCrew 5th, J. Luke, Maddie, Daniel, Supergamer, and Stewie rounds off the final points. Driver of the day for me. What would you say?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. We had McCrew coming from the back. We had Super Gamer who had horrible first opening laps. You had Skeven who was dominating in the mid part of the race and then messed up with the Inders. Honestly, for me, it's a choice between Callum and Tufi Danny. They called it the best.
I would agree with you there. For me, I'm leaning a little bit more towards Toothy Danny because at the start of the race, he was just relaxing, sitting by, biding his time, and when he needed to perform is when he pushed, and that's landed him a podium position. Potentially the race win, depending on what happens with Callum. Just
who doesn't like an underdog?
Mainly because he was so big of an underdog, yes. So yeah, my driver of the day goes to Mr. Toothy. And yeah.
I can agree with that and get on board with that.
Well, that's been it from me, from the INL League, and from Mr. Ivory Brian Mike. Should we try and get any of the gentlemen for a potential interview here? Perhaps Callum?
Yeah, if you want to try to get the podium guys in here.
All right, boys. Just bear with me for a short moment while I try and set that up for us.
Yep, I just gotta go grab something from downstairs. 2 seconds, guys. But I will be right back.
Yo.
All right.
Yo.
I'm back.
We are joined by Macru and Mr. Callum, was it? No, it is
No,
Matty
Matty.
G, Mr. Matty G.
Yeah, it's
I did not have the others
Shit.
on friend list at the moment, so I could not invite anyone else. But how was that race, boys?
Shit.
Yeah, shit, man.
Well, not shit. It was confusing.
Very.
For me, it was just shit. Starting pole and the strategy was so confusing that I was ending in P7.
Well, I
It-
crashed out in qualifying, so.
It did seem quite confusing. One of you stayed out on dries there after the DRS got disabled.
Yeah.
What was the
Yeah,
reasoning
we
behind
both
that?
did, I believe.
Because Jeff was telling me, like, in 10 minutes it's gonna be drying up. And like 10 minutes later he said the same.
Jeff told me
So I was like,
3
yeah,
laps
no,
later
I'm
will
kinda
be.
pissed.
Yeah, Jeff told me 3 laps later the race will be dry again. So then I thought, okay, I could just be out. But then he didn't say it was 15 minutes more.
My goodness, boys.
But
Jeff
also-
Jeff struck again, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The demotivated
I got the
years
P5
I've got there
average.
just makes me feel that emotion from both of you.
Yeah.
It was really confusing. The
Uh,
race.
As drivers both on the field there today, who would you go with as drivers for the day for you guys?
Probably.
I mean,
Danny
there's a lot of people that can get it.
or Andrew.
Andrew?
Yeah.
Who would
Danny
Andrew
also drive a good race
D. Daniel?
Yeah.
with P1.
All right.
Yeah, Danny, or I would say Danny, Andrew, random P4, or I don't know.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I don't know, Mr. Mike. Any questions from your end for the boys?
I was going to ask my crew about cutting his way through the field early on because it did look like a lot of lag going on.
Yeah, of Crafty. He was lagging a lot. So
Yeah, it was lagging,
it was really
ghosting.
difficult.
Was you nervous?
To overtake him.
Yeah, with all the lag that was going on, was you quietly crapping
I was
yourself?
like bit nervous I would get wing damage, so I was really cautious with overtaking and just waited for straight and DRS.
It happened to Super Gamer, and unfortunately that ruined his race.
And Jamie as well, J-Luke.
Because
He
you,
also got the wing damage from it.
yeah, Macru, I remember yourself and Super Gamer starting from the back, both on the medium tires, and everything went really well for both of you. But unfortunately, the lag did
rain.
kill Mr. Super Gamer, and he opted for the
rain killed
hards.
me, actually.
But luckily, you managed to keep that wing intact of yours.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm quite happy with my pole. But,
Yeah.
And the start of the race, but unfortunately, yeah, the rain just killed my race.
Sometimes it's just
Who's the
How it
driver of the
goes.
day in your point out?
We
And Mike.
for myself.
Toothy Danny.
Yes, with Toothy Danny.
Yeah, he also won the race.
Yeah.
By P8.
Yeah, and he slid under the radar, and when he needed to perform, he performed. He had great strategy calls as well. Everything was on point, and it got him the potential win. Callum did say that.
mentioned he is going to try and get rid of that 10-second time penalty,
Yeah,
which would.
got it undeserved.
Yeah, I would probably have to wait and see what the official results will be. But yeah, boys, if you can maybe tell us when we can catch you again for the next race, where it will be at.
Yeah, that's probably doesn't reserve it.
Will be next week at
Next week
Germany.
in Britain. No,
Britain.
Britain.
Yeah, Britain. Yeah, Britain.
Then Germany.
Next week in
Ooh,
Britain.
Silverstone.
Yeah, then Germany.
Lovely. More
I
wet conditions,
am-
lads.
Oh no, not again.
All
But
right,
I'm quite
lads.
happy. I'm fast on dry Britain.
Yeah, yes, sir.
I did pretty good as well.
I've seen
really, race.
Maddie do a 1 minute 28-second lap during a race, so
Yeah.
that's pretty lightning quick. How are you feeling about that one, Macru? Can you challenge?
Of course.
Great to hear. Great to hear.
Fighting words.
No, we
Fighting
can't.
words.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. As you heard the gentleman say, that will be next week on Saturday, same time, maybe same place. We'll have to see how my work schedule looks. But they do have their YouTube channel. Macru, could you maybe give people the link to the channel, or tell them where they can find these races at?
It's in the Discord server.
And for those people that are watching that's perhaps not in the Discord server,
The YouTube channel is called Intelligence Racing League. So if you
Intelligence.
search it on YouTube, you can just find the league.
all
It's
right.
not really hard.
So for those of you not in any of the Discords, you can just search for Intelligence Racing League. We'll be uploading this race as well. And then for next Saturday, that's where you'll be able to find it. Yeah. So until then, I guess, thank you for watching.
Yep,
And thank you, boys, for the great race you gave us.
no problem.
And Mr. Brian Mike, thank you for being a pretty awesome co-commentator. I've never had one before. It's been fun.
I mean, I wasn't really too much commentating. I was keeping my eye on the rugby as well.
So I've heard. But you're not supposed to admit that live. Joking.
Hey, I mean,
tell us about the
sometimes
rugby.
you
How's it
gotta
going?
say what you gotta say. Wales 21, Italy 0.
Great stuff. All right, boys.
I'll see you later, mate.
And that's been it from me.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, boy.
I walk you to the dance floor, we begin to dance and put your arms around me. Cause I'm probably gon' fuck you tonight. Cause I'm probably gon' fuck you tonight. Fuck you tonight. Fuck you tonight.